access level has recently increased. Excellent. Incoming message.
Welcome, agents, to episode 68 of Behind the Scanner. Your hosts for tonight are Daphne D. from Washington, D.C., and Jorge Pedrero from Mexico City. Our special guests tonight are Sunny Chan from Hong Kong and Keijo from Cordova, Argentina. Joining us for the Weekly Truth is Jose Antonio Rey from Operation Essex. And for a look inside the scanner is Fab Games. I'm Kelly Colton. Welcome to the show. Join us during the broadcast in our live chat room on our website, behindthescanner.com, and click on Chat. The Q&A tool is enabled for tonight's broadcast. Submit your questions throughout the show, and we'll ask as many as time allows. If you know someone who would make a great guest, submit their information to us at behindthescanner.com and click on Guest Suggestions. You can watch past episodes and subscribe to our channel at youtube.com/behindthescanner. Or you can listen to audio-only episodes at soundcloud.com/behindthescanner. And now, your hosts of Behind the Scanner.
Well, good evening, agents, and welcome to episode 68 of Behind the Scanner. As you may have heard from or seen online, or from even our discussion on last week's show, Joe Philley from Niantic had passed away on September 9th, and a memorial service was held in LA on Sunday. One of our esteemed co-hosts, Kelly Colton, was actually there at the memorial service, and yeah, I'd love to hear about your experience, Kelly.
Thanks, Daphne. So on Sunday, there were about 100 or so people there at Angels Gate Park, south of Los Angeles in San Pedro, California, and you know, we all call it a memorial service. They were calling it a celebration of life, and it was a pretty day out, but of course, you know, me being from the Midwest and it being California, every day is a pretty day there. But yeah, it was a little bit windy, and the park overlooks the ocean. It's just a gorgeous place, and it apparently had a lot of significance to Joe, and that's why that place was picked. Brian Rose of Night, he started the memorial service off with a moment of silence, and it's my understanding that agents all around the world joined in for the memorial silence, and it was, you know, a very somber moment for everyone. But what was interesting is how you know, that feeling sort of changed, and different agents and family members and friends all got up to talk about their stories and experiences with Joe. And Brian had this great story about Joe and the police running into Joe at Cross Plains, Texas. And if you're interested in reading some of the great stories about Joe, Hugo actually collected a bunch of stories on Padlet.com, and we'll go ahead and we'll share the link to that on the VTS Google Plus page. And I think Andrew we might be sharing the screen right now for that. So yeah, so after Brian gave his talk, a lot of the people in attendance also shared their memories and say a few words. And it was interesting, especially to hear from some of Joe's friends outside of Ingress, to hear about, you know, how he was. You know, we all know him as, you know, Mr. Ingress, and it was cool to kind of hear about his life beyond it. His grandson got up and he said something like, my grandpa was the best player in Ingress ever, and now I'm going to be the same. And it was very, very cute. But yeah, sort of a common theme that was just running throughout the entire service was that Joe really touched a lot of people's lives. And, you know, a lot of us, you know, remember that he was always commenting or plus oneing our posts. He would always, you know, ping you and check in on Hangouts, and it was really touching. Michael, who was Joe's lifelong friend and roommate, had a few very touching statements. And the one that really stood out was, however much you think that Joe cared, double it. And that's, you know, saying a lot. And sort of just the parting thought is that Michael also said that Joe would want us to keep going and stay strong.
Well, thanks so much, Kelly, for sharing your account of the service with us. He was really a good friend of the show, and he'll definitely, and already is, really missed.
Definitely.
All right. Well, tonight's interviews, we will start off with our first guest, Keijo Putt, from Cordoba, Argentina. Bienvenidos.
Hola, Keijo. I think the first thing we have to talk about is about your name. It is not obviously your real name. It's like a word puzzle game in Spanish. So it means, well, it would be better if you try to explain that in English.
I think it's kind of difficult to explain that because my persona goes way beyond Ingress and well before everything on the internet was set. When I was very, very young, a little younger than a rascal, my parents all the time when I do like I was worse than Dennis the Menace. So my parents said, "Okay, jode." It's something like a son of a, the rest of it. So it stuck. You know, it stuck with me, and I carried it all my life. And when someone close to me calls me something, I say, "Hey, Keijo," and Keijo here and Keijo there. So it stuck. And actually, I'm more known as Keijo than my real name. Nobody ever uses my real name anymore. So it got there, and it came to stay. That's why I'm Keijo everywhere.
Fun. And rumor has it that you plan to increase the MU account in Cordoba soon. Can you share some more info about that?
Oh, who told you that?
Rumors.
Yeah, okay. Well, rumor has it that Cordoba is going to be part of the Linked Lives World event in mid-October. So we're going to do our little part on behalf of the biggest cross-faction event we ever had, even bigger than the first Saturday. So we're going to increase our Minding It count, donating blood ourselves.
Wow.
That's like nobody, it wasn't like very well known until Asian Panorami from the Enlightenment brought it up and say, okay, let's go for it. So it's going to be like a joint event, cross-faction event, and it will be just awesome. And hopefully, I think you were talking about that.
Maybe.
No. We were talking about
that we should be sharing?
a little baby that is coming.
Oh, that one. That's going to happen in mid-October too. Like, I'm going to be a father of my second child.
Happening.
Okay, I was talking about Ingress.
Revealing secrets
I'm going to
over
be a father. Yeah, my parents didn't know that. Thank you for.
Secrets.
Okay. Besides Link Live, the worldwide operation, I'm gonna be a father as well. So like I have two big events to celebrate. I'm gonna be a father in 2 weeks. Again, like I'm gonna have three kids already. I already have two, of course.
Wow.
But it's not exactly a one unit count because he can't grab a scanner yet. But as soon as he can, I'll recruit him.
How about other members of your family? How many? You said you had 3 kids.
Yeah, I have a little daughter of 5, a young boy of 2, and the upcoming third boy of -2 weeks.
Wow.
And other members of my family, I have a brother that used to play Ingress in my hometown, Carlos Paz, that is 30 kilometers away from here. And he kind of had to quit because of his life, his wife, and he was kind of putting too much of his personal life aside for the operations and hacking, and he was kind of being too annoying to the local inline players. But since he quit playing, that city became a green realm. Well,
And do other members of your family play?
No, not anymore. I don't know. I don't think the rest of my family will play anytime soon. Maybe my daughter in 8 years, if Ingress is still available.
Okay, so let's go back in time now. So, when did you receive your code to play Ingress, and what did you do to have to in order to play? That's a good story.
That back in time, Jesus. Well, let me remember because it was like a lifetime ago. I kind of heard of Ingress on the local TV, in the local news TV, and say, wow, I have to play that game, but it was for Android. So I applied for a code on the ingress.com page, and I didn't know it was for Android. I had a BlackBerry. So when I got my code and I saw it was a game from Google and it was an augmented reality, I had to go buy an Android phone. But it was circa December 2012 or something. And I didn't have a phone to play with. Like all I had was an old BlackBerry. And I had to rush to the store and buy a phone, an Android phone. So I got this, what was this, an HTC Desire HD, and I began to play with that. Then I switched to an S3, and then I went to an LG, and a year after I burned the GPS, and I had to buy another LG, and I've been like 6 phones since then.
So, Ingress changed your mobile life, right? So,
Yeah.
why did you choose to be Resistance?
And that I had to put a lot of thought in it. Since I didn't have the phone to play, I kind of went through all the postings about Ingress and the Resistance and the Enlightened. I went through the background story. I read everything I could lay my eyes on, and well, I ended up choosing the Resistance because of their ideals. I am of the thought that you choose your faction on your ideals, not on the people. That's what defines you. Your faction defines you, not the people that are in the faction.
You're muted. You're muted. You're
Okay,
muted.
everybody take a shot. Okay, so for everyone watching, you can interact with us live in our chat room on our website, behindthescanner.com. Just go there and click chat on the top. And, okay, so you're a Smurf, and I won't say anything about your poor decision, despite how thoughtful you all the research.
Little cold, actually.
But I'm curious, you told us that your deepest fear is that your faction is probably fighting a lost cause before. And
Yeah.
your words were, the more we dig into XM, the harder it gets to sustain a res-only mentality. Can you explain that a little more?
Okay. It all began on the Magnus 13 event when the fact that I don't know, the chain reaction that brought Jarvis back alive. I was on the 13 Magnus Buenos Aires finale. After all we did to win the anomaly in our city, Jarvis went back to life again. We all know that. But right there, I went through all the facts that we could gather, and I read the Felicia Farrelly books. Kind of saw the ending of it, like evolution can't be stopped. That's a rule of thumb. If it needs to evolve, it will evolve, and there's nothing that can stop that can stop that evolution, that chain of facts that will ultimately come with a resolution where we go. Since the enlightened want to embrace the evolution, me as a resistance don't want to stop evolution, but I want to be perfectly capable of handling what will happen. Like, I want to be responsible for the evolution. Like, I manage my own fate, and that's what's lacking the resistance. We currently have players that want no contact whatsoever with the enlightened, and I don't embrace that idea. It's like being all into the resistance is not the path, and being all enlightened is not the path. Actually, there are separate symbols for the resistance and the enlightened that go way deeper than what you can see above sea level. Like, there's a resistance symbol with the glyph, the resistance glyph that has a tail to the other side. It means something else. And there's an enlightened symbol that has a tail a little longer than the enlightened symbol we all know. And it's been on the internet. There's a lot of discussion about that. There are probably, the next resistance or the next enlightened that actually coexist or work together, because we ourselves, as resistance only or enlightened only, we're not going to find peace ever, and that's not the point of the game.
Interesting. We have to talk privately about that. But okay, can you tell us about the one-man fluke?
Okay, that was actually that was a big fluke. We had a gathering for the newbies and lots of novice players that were like cycling into the resistance, and I was thinking, okay, we have all these new players in town, so why not make a warm-up session and go for a flyby operation and hack and deploy and link and make triangles. And many people signed up, but in the end, no one showed up. So I was there alone and saying, okay, this is just starting, and I was like level 5 or something, and I just went on and hacked and linked and made fields, and I got, by that time, an insane amount of XM, counting that there were like 20 portals in my city, maybe a little more, but in downtown there were like 10 or 15. There was like nothing. It was a desert of portals. And I ended up like playing for 10 hours straight with no missions, no agenda, no nothing. The only thing that was out there was XMPs, resonators, and shields. Portals didn't decay. You could see an FPS counter in the scanner by that time. And off I went. Like played for 10 hours straight, all by myself. That was the one-man fluke. Then I wrote about that, sent it to Decode Ingress, which by that time it was like the greatest website about Ingress stuff. They had like the Battlefront stories, and it was like the cool place by then.
This is how you became a permanent collaborator of Decode Ingress?
Not really. I got offered the position there because of the Battlefront story, and then Mohan, the owner of Decode Ingress, contacted me to see if I could write something, and if I had anything to offer to that, and say, yeah, I could provide an article or two, and that's what I did. I provided 2 articles for them. One was an idea about the onion fields, like it was like the dead easy technique to field layering, triangles over triangles. That was like the article that made me get a position on Decode Ingress.
And you have a lot of ideas to improve what you called the in-game experience. And as you may know, the guys from Niantic Labs have an eye on us on every show, allegedly. So probably if you share some of them with us now, who knows, maybe someday you can see them implemented.
Oh.
Anything you would like to express now?
Okay.
No pressure, though.
That makes me like a little nervous. Hello, Niantic guys. Okay, first when I had an article like scanner.0 on Decode Ingress, it didn't get too much hype, but it was a good one actually. That was the only time when I put something on some of the ideas I could gather together on a post about improving. But there are several things, when the new levels came, I could devise an idea on how to reward the new levels, and it was like you could go up to level 40 or 50. Like there were mostly no limits to level ups, by granting the higher levels, higher than 8 levels, more stuff, like the level 9 can put an extra level 2 resonator, level 10 can put 2 extra resonators, and so on. And and the access point window goes like by double each time, so it gets like harder to reach more levels, but the rewards are more satisfying. Like putting an extra signature when you are level 45, you can make your own level 8 portal, for example, or link even farther or whatever. But there are like tiny ideas, or for example, portal keys. Make the portals drop one key, and you can have that key and link without using up the key, and the key doesn't count towards your inventory, and the key will be destroyed when the portal switches faction, for example. Like there are many other things I can't recall right now, but there were mostly like beer talking with another Ingress players. Well, that was like kind of, why don't you do this? And what if something, the nerd talk about Ingress, mostly.
Some ideas sounds really good. Well, hopefully they listen. And
Fingers
well,
crossed.
if you are watching us on YouTube and you want to ask something to Keijo or our next guest, you have to click on the banner at the top of the video, at the bottom of the video, sorry, that says "Be part of the conversation." From there, you just have to click on the square grid menu icon in the upper right, and that's it. Select Q&A. Well, Uncle Keijo, why is that your fellow resistance community called you like that?
Where do you get all that information?
We do our research here.
Spies. BTS spies.
Okay. Let's go to that.
Theo.
The thing is, Uncle Keijo is it's very, I don't know how to say it in English. It's a nickname that the younger agents I hang out with they say to me. It's like a nickname from my fund agents, fund younger agents. They call me Uncle Keijo because I'm kind of the oldest player they've seen around. But I kind of like it. It's more, it's a appreciation token or something, respect to the elders. I like it. It's very endearing and it's very good. I don't know how to say it, but Jesus, how do you know that?
We have our viz. So as the oldest or one of the oldest Ingress players in your city, you've seen the evolution of the game and most importantly, the growth of the communities from both factions. Can you tell us what you think about what's been going on, like cross-faction wise?
That had an evolution too. Like at first, I think I'm talking for about 80% of the English players that we all go through some sort of evolution where we don't want our portal to be touched by anyone, and it's our portal, and we get all mad when someone fires an XMP near it. And then we go through it. Okay, you can take it, but I'll take it back. And then we're going, hey, who are you? Oh, I'm Sam from the Enlightenment. From the Enlightenment. Oh, I'm from the Resistance. Hey, how about beer? And that's like my last stand. I still have like some type of friendship. Like we're not close friends, but we remain like friends beyond the game with many Enlightened players and many Resistance players and many players in general don't play anymore. But well, I don't know, like my current position is to be as cross-faction as possible, like not leaking resistance operations to the Enlightened, but trying to put a strong base in that cross-faction is necessary. It's absolutely necessary. You can do lots of fun things with cross-faction. I'm terribly sorry that some people don't understand it that way and prefer to be like separated and have no contact whatsoever with the other faction. But it just won't work that way. You have to do cross-faction because the game won't evolve.
I agree with that. So, well, it's time for viewer questions. For those in the chat room, please feel free to type some questions for Keijo. Are you ready for that, Keijo?
Yeah, where is it?
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry.
Is
Can you
one
do?
ever ready for the viewer questions?
Okay.
Yeah, can you do the honors, please, Daphne?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So RJ Wood in the chat room wants to know, if you could say only one thing to recommend Ingress to someone, what would you say?
One thing about Ingress. Make friends. Don't make enemies. Make friends. Because agents in the other faction are opponents, not enemies. Once you put your scanner down, the game is over, and the king and the pawn go to the same box.
Good tip, absolutely. And Brent Hollett wants to know, do you believe the Shapers really exist?
Can you repeat that again, please?
Do you believe the Shapers really exist?
Yes. Yes, I do. Like, really, we are talking about the Ingress reality. If we're talking about Ingress and not going outside of the scanner, I can say it's the Shapers. But in the game reality, yes, Shapers exist. They have to. Because if they didn't, we wouldn't be playing this. Like, in the Ingress reality, Shapers exist. They have to exist. There are tons of proof in all the documents that the Shapers actually exist. I read a couple opinions against Shapers' existence, but it's too complicated to create a lie to imply that Shapers exist, and actually they don't. But then again, it's only Ingress reality.
Thank you for clarifying. All right. Another question is, what is something you've found out about yourself through Ingress, either Ingress reality or reality, that you didn't know about yourself before?
Well, actually there have been so many things that, to name a few, well, I got to walk like paying much more attention to my surroundings and finding portals and checking out every statue and church and trying to find its name and say, okay, what is this? Oh, nice, okay, send it. And, oh, look at that. Who is that guy? Oh, it's sure, I don't know. It's Lord Nelson. Okay, portal and stuff like that. Something like I would have never cared before to do. Say, see the statue of that guy? Okay, turn left. Instead, now I can say, okay, go to the Iglesia Inmaculada, and then turn right 2 more blocks. No, I'm kind of much more informed about my city than I was before.
Okay. And well, what's your favorite Ingress outfit?
Actually, I don't have one. I have so many T-shirts and shirts and hoodies, and but I don't know if it's here. I have a kangaroo, something you put like across that, where I have my cell phone, my battery pack, and a couple extra chargers. I don't know what it is actually. I think I see it somewhere here.
I want to say that is a nice
Yeah.
use of the flag with the key.
Oh, is it? I didn't know it was here. Oh, I'm sorry.
No branding necessary here. Okay, and last question from Jack Trong.
Yeah.
What's actually happening with Decode Ingress?
Oh, it's so hard to say. Back in October, I think, last year, the cool guys from Decode Ingress, well, they moved to their new house, Fed Games, and I kind of stayed in Decode Ingress, but it's now a community of decoding, as far as I know.
Okay, so well, yeah. Okay, well, it's already a tradition to give our guests 60 seconds to talk about whatever they want or shout out to whoever they want. So for better or worse, it's your time. So go ahead.
I hope to see you all, and that's it. Someday we'll meet, all of you, and I hope to see you in in an operation, an anomaly, connected cell, something. I'm pretty sure we're gonna meet each other face to face, scanner to scanner, PvP.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that would be fun. And I wouldn't mind some, gosh, what do you call the Argentinian barbecue? Actually, Argentinian anything would be fun. Would give me fun. I think in food. All my travels are generally, if it's not based on uniques, it's based in food.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
But tío Keijo, gracias a todo.
Gracias, Keiko.
Okay. See you guys.
Definitely. Good night.
Well, what do you want to do first, Daphne? The
Code
code
of
of
the
the
show.
show?
Code of the
Yeah,
show.
really?
Always code of
Okay.
the show.
Okay, so here comes the code, and it's time for Andrew to show his face on the screen. So please, Andrew.
No. All right, here we go. I think this is it. Let's see. Boom.
Waiting for all those alerts to hit.
The code of the show. Always exciting. Limited redeemable. Might be good for 50. Might be good for 500. Don't know what it holds. It's like a mystery wrapped in a riddle. One that you can solve very easily, though. You just have to put it into your little passcode redeeming box. fact, I'm going to try to steal one of these. Never redeem them, you guys.
Yeah, hurry up before we take them all.
No, I know. The benefit of being able to copy and paste.
Oh,
Because, you know, we never do that at those single redeems in the chat room, do we?
no.
Better not. You better not. All right, let's see what this first
No, I
goes
think the
for.
same guy generally gets it all. Not saying names. Get him, get him, get him! Is Andrew frozen? I think Andrew might be frozen.
I think it is.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
okay,
Well.
so no more code of the show. And now we get to move on to our next segment, Inside the Scanner with Fev Games. And this segment will break down the app changes, edits to the game mechanics, and describe the new features implemented in the app. And yeah, I think a few viewers are watching who were just reading the article tonight about the new APK. So come on in. Hi, Robert Walker. Nice to see actually you instead of the cutout and a bearded lips giving the report.
Yeah, no Syncrovox tonight. All right, so we have a doozy today when it comes to the APK teardown. Latest version has dropped 1.83.1. And this is, I believe, the first APK drop that has happened since Niantic became an independent company. And we've had kind of a drought as a result of that. And there is a lot of new stuff in this APK. First of all is what is called the key capsule. And those of you who like to keep souvenir keys of places you've been will really love this one because it's a storage container that can only hold keys, and the keys in this capsule don't count towards your inventory cap.
Yay! Woohoo!
So you can now hoard those souvenir keys to your heart's content and not have to worry about using up your inventory.
100 keys capacity too?
Yeah, do you know the limit of them?
I haven't seen anything about what the limit might exist for the key capsule itself. Barring any contrary information, I would assume it's the same as the others, 100. And there have been some preliminary images of this capsule coming out. It appears to be pink or lavender or something.
Well, to be fair, though, I think in at least the U.S., October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, where everything becomes.
Well, there you go.
Conserve those boobs, conserve those keys. I don't know.
There you go.
Sorry.
So that's the key capsule. The second notable thing about capsules that is happening, and this is probably my favorite of the new things, is that items in capsules will now have the same filter controls that your inventory does.
Oh, so, hell yeah!
So you can, when transferring items, you'll be able to filter. You'll have the little filter pull down that says all portal keys, power cubes, resonators, weapons, mods, and then portal keys will actually be sortable inside a capsule by title or distance.
Oh my god, I'm gonna faint.
Although that part will only works during loading the capsule.
No.
And there is a bug right now that when unloading the keys, yeah, it doesn't work. So that might be something that they'll fix in the future. Right now, loading the capsule, you can sort by title or distance, but unloading, currently, you cannot.
Okay, well, we have progress with that.
But yeah, just that's there at all is hallafrickin-luya, you know? I know there's a lot of people who will be happy about that.
I am.
third on the list is Abaddon artifacts, aka flash shards. The model objects, the 3D models for the shards for the Abaddon anomaly have been added, and what is kind of the surprise is that there are 2 sets of 100. So for Abaddon 1 and 2, it appears that there may be up to 100 shards, which is significantly more than any past shard event. Obviously, right now, we still don't know the details of how the flash shard event is supposed to work, but it seems like there will be a lot more shards to work with. Daniel Benton, who does a lot of the work with creating the 3D models that you can see in your browser from the Ingress APK, is working on rendering those as well. So hopefully we'll be able to see those soon. Next up is a new type of item. Now, this one we don't know a whole lot about it yet. It appears that there's going to be a new item type, a new category of items called power-ups. And in the APK, we have seen one power-up now that appears to be named the Portal Fracker, or just Portal Power-Up, one of the two. It's not sure exactly whether these are the same thing or not. But these power-ups appear to have a duration. You activate one, and then it lasts for a certain amount of time and then expires. And the one power-up that's in the APK right now appears to increase the hack output of a portal. So you might remember sometimes when Niantic has temporarily increased the hack yield for portals. And it appears that this portal power-up will do something similar to that. But we still don't know. We still don't have exact details about how these work. But it does appear that these are not mods, that they will be applied in some other way. That due to the fact that they appear to be a different item category. Of course, until they actually turn this live, until they actually turn these on, none of this is certain. It's just what we're seeing in the APK. And then probably the change that we're seeing that will be the most controversial among the player base is the addition of the store. There's going to be a new tab in the ops screen where there will be a store where you can purchase items. So it appears to be microtransactions is what this appears to be.
No, my God.
Now, again, they haven't turned this on yet, so any of this could change. But it looks like that they've already put in code that would be needed for Apple and Google billing transactions and all of that stuff. You know, it makes sense with them being spun off as an independent company now. They don't have access to Google's deep pockets anymore. You know, they're going to be pretty concerned about making money. But the way I see it, there are certainly more objectionable ways that they could do it. You know, imagine trying to make a link and having to watch an interstitial video ad before you can link. I mean, so you know, if this is how they're going to make the money, you know, it certainly could be worse than that. You know, and in the past, Niantic has been pretty good about making, you know, their sponsors and their money-making things fairly unobtrusive. So that's pretty much it. The only other thing to mention is that there is some evidence that they are trying to make teardowns a little more difficult in terms of spilling the beans on things that are coming up. They've added mysterious test items apparently to mask real items that'll be coming later. So they might be trying to make it more tricky for us to divulge details on this show. or on Fev Games.
Oh, I'm sure we'll figure it out though.
Yeah.
We have our ways.
Yes.
Yes,
But
yes.
that's the rundown of the new stuff that we've seen in the APK, and of course you can go to fevgames.net and read the full article there that gives all the gory details that we have at this time.
Yeah, I have to wonder if the online store is for real, if all those spams in the comms will cease to flood them.
Now there is an image going around that illustrates the layout of the store. And there's been some confusion about that image. If those of you who may have seen it, it shows a couple of items, and we should emphasize that those items are not real. We don't know what items are going to be in the store right now. They're just there to illustrate the layout of the store. So you might have seen things like about an extremely rare link amp or a very common shield. Those aren't real items. It's just for illustration purposes. I don't think anyone would want a very common shield anyway.
No.
Never say never.
Yeah.
We'll still want level 1. Yeah.
Well, it might be for campfiring.
With link amps, so.
Yeah.
Well, actually, hey, you know what? For getting your engineering badge too, why waste all the good stuff?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Go for the cost. That's cool.
Plus one
That's
to Andrew's comment.
What was that?
Plus one to Andrew's comment. You're going to your engineering, so you have to have very common link amps.
Exactly. I'd rather have a very common shield, but oh well.
Yeah, or common shield.
Yes.
But I'll go for a very common link amp, so you can tear down the portal again and again and again. With a shield, it's kind of harder.
Huh. Yeah.
So I'm gonna thread jack this show real quick and ask you guys, all the guests here. This wasn't planned, but what would you? We kind of explored this a little bit like a week or two ago, but what would you pay money for in game?
Oh, difficult.
Oliver Linden Wolf badge.
I would actually pay for the game itself if it means putting a stop to all the secondary accounts that keep happening.
So you mean like more, just giving Niantic more resources?
Well, that and maybe there's a particular player in New York that is very hostile and threatening, and yes, I would think that if the game itself costed money, that he wouldn't keep creating those accounts and threatening.
I got you.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
That's a valid point.
That's.
So, Robert, real quick, since you wrote the story, what about you?
Well, I mentioned the Oliver Linden Wolf medal, but I think I don't know, priority on getting Portal approval if they ever bring Portal approvals back might be something. It's like, hey, pay $1 and we'll move you to the priority line on that.
I'd say.
But I don't know, like maybe a pack of power cubes or a pack of flip cards might be worth some money. More mundane items like resonators and things like that, I don't see them really being worth paying for, since you can acquire them so easily without it.
Yeah, I would say rare items, and I think that's pretty hard to come by. If you actually go and look at the Intel map near where I live, there's always links going out to a temple of the mountains, and I would love to get access to more soft link. Yeah, and put it this way, I mean, there's already sellers in Taobao, which is a kind of eBay equivalent of China, and they're already selling XMPs and stuff like that for a couple of dollars. I think $10 or something for 100 or something like that. So it's probably a good way for Niantic to take to sort of like get more revenue.
There's market for it. Yeah, absolutely. I'd rather the money go to Niantic than these special stores.
Especially considering that those are technically against TOS, and because it's Niantic's game. If there's going to be sales of in-game items, it should be from them.
Yep, agreed.
I've always said.
I
Go ahead, Keijo.
I paid for privileges, like submitting portal. You want that to be a sponsored portal or something like that, and to make it count towards my Seer badge.
Yeah.
That's an interesting
Alrighty.
idea, though. Like local businesses could sponsor individual portals. That'd be an interesting way for them to make some money.
I would pay to have a Pokemon or a Pac-Man icon replace the GPS location icon.
Bring back Packgrass.
Yeah, that was awesome. I would pay for the pack dress.
That would be cool. I've always said I think paying for the key capsules. So they implemented the key capsules. What we don't know, I'm assuming, is whether or not those are part of the store or if they're going to be hackable or anything like that, right?
We don't know that right now.
Yeah. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I would easily pay like $5 for a 50 slot or 100 slot key capsule and buy a couple of those, without a doubt. What about you, Jorge?
Well, you were talking about to replace the arrow, the GPS location, and well, you mentioned I think 15 days ago that to change the profile agent logo or whatever, where you have your this little, the clips and things like that. Well, I would pay for that. I don't know. I probably would put there the Kraken or something like that.
Very cool. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to thread Jack. I'm kind of interested and excited to see where they go with this and what it will open up. I'm hoping it won't skew the game mechanics in terms of like pay to win type things where you couldn't buy 1,000 XMPs, but there's a lot of other really interesting things they could do that would augment and make the experience a little bit better. That'd be interesting to see. So I'll turn it back over to you guys. Sorry.
Well, I was going to mention there's people in the chat talking about how they could also sell like cosmetic changes. Like a lot of games do that,
Yeah.
Like you fire an XMP and rainbows come out.
Oh my god.
Hey, why not?
It wouldn't change balance.
Yeah.
No.
How about you, Jesse?
I don't think he heard you.
No, he unmuted himself, but we still can't hear him. He is our strong and silent cameraman for those of you who...
No, he's muted. Well, did you remember that layout of like Ingress in the 80s or something like that? Like it was like all pixel. Well, maybe like you can buy like themes or something like that for Ingress.
Retro day, yeah.
Yeah, that would... Hey, anything. Yeah, that would be interesting. Absolutely. All right. Well, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that info, Robert.
Sure thing.
I'm actually really excited about the new update and see what the new Niantic has to offer for us.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, and our next guest is Sunny Chan from Hong Kong. Hello, Sunny. Welcome.
Hey. Hi, everybody.
And let's get into learning about you behind the scanner. You let us know before the show that you lived in the UK for about 20 years. So, but you're born in Hong Kong. So, how'd that work out?
I was born in Hong Kong, and when I was 13, I went to study in a boarding school like Harry Potter, you know, but no holy magic. And then I went to university in London, and then I got a job in London. Well, not London actually, Southampton first, and that comes a bit later. And then I worked in London for a couple of years, and I moved back to Hong Kong in 2010. So that's where my funny accent comes from.
It's really cool. I like both.
Well, before we go on, if you are watching us and you want to interact with the guest or the host, you can go to behindthescanner.com and click on the chat at the top, and well, you can ask whatever they want. Our good friend Andrew is going on there and giving some codes and everything, so go and chat with us. So, Sonny, before we get into that game that you have in your smartphone, I wish to know about Sonny's lasagna. Where did you learn to cook it, and what makes it special?
So, so the story is that I used to work in Southampton, and I lived by myself. And if I didn't learn cooking, then I would starve. So I actually went to evening college and then learned how to cook. And one of my favorite dishes, I cook a couple of dishes, curries and things like that. But one of my favorite dish is actually lasagna. So I took the recipe from the college and then I improved it. I add some extra mushrooms and red wine, and Worcester sauce is the secret ingredient. And I think most of my friends have tried it. People who knows me, I think my Ingress mates are trying to ask me to cook for them, so I'm sure there will be opportunity for them. But everybody tried it and loved it, and they always ask me for the recipe. So that's my famous lasagna.
Are you able to cook that, freeze it, and send it to Mexico?
or the United States, or both.
If I pass by East Coast, yes, I will do that for you.
I'm going to trade one of your lasagnas with one of my Argentinian asados. How about that?
Oh my God.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yes, and yes. I'm all for that. Any chance that we can convince you to post your recipe on your G+ profile?
Sure, I can post it. There are some little tricks that are probably isn't in that recipe. It's probably in my brain, and I adjust it a little bit every time I cook. But yeah, I can share. A couple of my friends have it and tried it, and works fine for them.
All right, winner, lasagna dinner. And so, Sonny, I know that you have a green Mini Cooper that you've actually had for the last 10 years. Is this why you chose the Enlightened side when you started with Ingress?
No, well, actually, I didn't. I actually have two green minis over the last 10 years. So when I was living in UK, we like smaller cars in UK, obviously, because of petrol is like twice the price you pay in America. So we like small cars, and I saw the green mini, and I loved it. And I had that in UK for about 7 years, and I took it everywhere. If you actually get access, have a look at my Facebook. I actually took it to drive it from UK all the way down to south of France, Italy, and places like that, and I loved it. And when I moved back, I had a bit of dilemma to see whether I want to bring it back. You can ship it back in a container back to Hong Kong, but the problem is that the MOT, the vehicle checks and things like that, is just so expensive. So I haven't had a car when I moved back to Hong Kong for about 2 years. And then one day I saw in an advert section of the newspaper, and saw there's a green mini, very similar to what I had in UK, but except it's a bit newer. So I decided, and I go for it, and I brought it. So now I've got my second mini, and I had that for about 3 years now. And I didn't pick Enlighten because of the car. So I can tell you the story a bit later.
Please do.
No, I don't.
You've been in a lot of anomalies, 5 to be exact. But the cool thing of this is that you participated on those in 3 different continents. Can you go deep on how and why this happened?
Yeah. My first anomaly that I did is in Hong Kong. So before that, I actually didn't really follow all the stories. So there's a Cassandra and things like that. I didn't really follow it. I was playing on my own. And then I discovered the community in Hong Kong. And then I joined the first Helios anomaly in Hong Kong. And that was great fun. And then it just happened that I have a business trip to West Coast in America. So I was actually in California for the Sacramento anomaly in America. So that's the second continent, and I've made some great friends there. So Keijo and Blade, and we actually won that anomaly. So Enlighten won the anomaly. And then the one after the Sacramentos is Dasana, Tokyo, and that's my first Tokyo sort of like Japanese anomaly. And I'm really amazed that how sort of the Japanese took the game into their stride and sort of like dressed up and all sorts of things, and I made some great friends there as well. And then after that, the next one is actually in Kyoto for the Shonen. I wasn't planning to go, but remember Keijo and Blade I met in Sacramento. They actually sent me a hangout, say, "Hey, Sonny, I'm coming to Kyoto. Can you come?" So I go and book a ticket, and then sort of like gather my friends, Ingress friends, Enlightened friends from Hong Kong, and that's my second Japanese anomaly, and it was great. There's so many swag and everything in there, and sort of like bought quite a lot of stuff. And then finally after that, and just before the Kyoto anomaly, I was actually on holiday in Italy. That's where my icon comes from. I was actually in Rome, and so it happens. I didn't plan, but it happens that there's a Florence Shonen anomaly. So I end up playing in the Enlightened team, and we lost by a little bit, which is a bit of a shame. The first cluster, I just couldn't get any signal. I just couldn't do any attack and things like that. But it was good fun, and so now I've got lots of friends all over sort of like US and in Asia, in Japan, and also in sort of like Italy and Switzerland.
All right, so I'm going to have to ask, what's your UPV?
Sorry, I beg your pardon?
Your UPV, your unique portals visited.
How many uniques? I think at the moment I'm on the 9,000. One of the problems is that when I'm traveling, sometimes it's a bit difficult to take out your phone and just play. But I do sort of like in the evening, just before I go to bed, I would just walk around the hotel and capture all the thing. Yeah, I try to capture as much as I could. I've sort of been to quite a few places since I started ingressing. So yeah, I'm about 9,000. I'm trying to sort of like get the badges, but I'm already 16 now, so.
Lots of other badges to get. Okay, so for everyone watching, remember you can submit questions for our guests. Please, if you're watching via YouTube, just click on the banner at the bottom of the video that says "Be part of the conversation." And from there, click on the square grid menu icon in the upper right and select QA. And so participating in that many anomalies and in that many places, it makes me think of that side that Ingress, I say majority of us love, is making new friends everywhere. And any interesting experiences you'd like to share about that?
So I think one of the really interesting thing that I've learned, sort of like when you go and meet all these people from different places, you learn about all those sort of like little sort of like cultural special sort of cultural thing. So one example is that when I went to forums, normally I was assigned to a group of Switzerland enlightened agents. And what happened is that sort of like we start talking, and then sort of like people in Switzerland either speak Italian, German, or French, and I think in somewhere I mentioned that sort of like so you must be sort of like speaking German, etc. And then the Switzerland team, they just say, oh, you shouldn't mention that we are not German, we are Swiss. So people have quite a national identity about that. And the other thing that I really enjoy with the Japanese anomaly is that they take this game really seriously, and they have dressed up sort of quite a lot. The one that I really remember is the I don't know whether people know about Doraemon, which is a comic character, sort of like light blue and then brown and things like that. And one of the agents from Enlightened team, he actually dressed up as a Doraemon, but it's actually green, so I call it Doraemon, and that was quite fun. And there's lots of people dressed up, but I'm not into that kind of dressing up, so I just wear my Enlightened T-shirt for it. But I think the main thing is really interesting to learn about all the different cultures, how different people work, how that team interaction going, and communication and things like that. And I just really enjoy doing that.
So you love to make friends? Damn, what's that? Well, you love to make friends because of Ingress, even though you define yourself as a lone wolf in the game. So tell me, was your highway to reach level 16 crowded or a lonely one?
I'm actually quite a lone wolf in the sense that I normally just sort of like play when I feel like playing. I don't sort of like, it's difficult to get sort of like group together. The thing about Hong Kong is that we have really high portal density. Just where I live, there's about sort of like 6 or 7 portals within my walking distance, sort of like 5 minutes walking distance from here. And if I just go further along, there's like farms everywhere. And what happens is that a lot of the time I just enjoy taking my green mini up to a temple in the mountain. So there's a mountain just outside my flat, and you can go up there and you can access it just sort of like access some of the portals outside at night. So sometimes I would just take my car up there, listen to the radio, and then just hack for portal keys, and then just make big fields for my home portal. That's normally quite fun. And I think what happens is that when people need me in my team, so like if they need an extra 8 resonator for farm or something, I'll definitely come and help them out. But in general, I just sort of go around 11 o'clock after I finish all my conference call in the evening, and I just go out and have a walk and just play by myself, and generally just sometimes play really late. I remember when I was getting up to level 13, I need about 500 captures. I actually spent the whole night walking around trying to see whether there's anybody out there, there's actually any resistance agent out there that's still playing, and then I basically just go to farm area and then just deploy it, and then they just come along within 10 minutes, and then I get my 500 captures to get to level 13. And then afterwards, level 16, I actually didn't have a guardian, a black guardian to get to level 16. I actually my tracker, I've actually gone black with my tracker, so I actually get there by a lot of hard work and a lot of walking.
Sorry, my mute situation. All right, so Let's get into a couple of tough topics about Ingress. Guardians, hunt or not? Does it matter to you?
I don't get too hung up on it now. The reason is that there's so many badges now. So like, for example, I got my tracker to black, and then basically I get there, and then there's also translator, which is driving. That one sort of like, if you just spend a lot of hard work, you'll get there. I just see a Guardian, it's just easy, sort of like, lazy kind of badge to get to level 16 or high level. So I'm still platinum. I got my Guardian. Actually, that's the story with that. Is that I went to London for travel, and then I met up with all the London agents, and I was just deploying everywhere, and it was somewhere near Crystal Palace, the football club, and soccer to the Americans, and I just deployed. I didn't think of having a Guardian, but then I noticed that, oh, hang on, sort of like, I've got a portal owned for like 40 days. So I've actually asked the London Enlighten agents and say, hey, can you find out where my Guardian is, or where my portal is for 40 days, and nobody hit it. And they found it there, and then so basically we just watch it for sort of like, and then it got attacked 100 days. Anyway, so that's how I get platinum. But then I didn't bother afterwards. But I think the main thing is that I don't know whether anybody explicitly actually going to watch for every single portal and find out whether it's Guardian. But to be honest, if you have Guardian badge, it's a fair game. But there are so many new badges now that you don't really need your Guardian, and so I think people shouldn't really get too hung up on it. Really, just walk a lot and sort of like draw a lot, and then you'll get it.
So the second topic would be Ingress API for developers. How do you think this could help to improve the game?
I think so. I'm my day job is as a software developer, and I do develop software. And I think what happens is that there are lots of data available from the Ingress game that can help with sort of planning and sort of like looking at sort of like planning operations and things like that, making it easier. So the tools that we've already provided by the Niantic is decent, but it's probably not sort of like a lot of the times that we need for sort of like planning all the operations. So IITC is something that sort of like a lot of people use, and sort of like I've used both, and I think sort of like it's. Some of these data should be sort of like, I firmly believe on sort of like open data type of thing. So I believe that sort of like, people who have the developing skills should be able to actually make use of those data and provide better tools for planning operations and things like that. So I definitely advocate for the API access. Niantic has promised API access for a long, long time. But they still, I guess, sort of like it's not their priority. But I think it's something that sort of like a lot of us who've got the development skills would love to get access to, and make better tools for planning, etc.
Very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like we've got a little feedback, so sorry for those hearing the echo. But are you ready to handle some viewer questions?
Yeah, sure.
All right. First one comes from Cloudy Lamb, and would like to know, I've heard that you like drinks while playing Ingress, and I wonder how they might know. But especially as local players have seen you having Ribena to go at farms. Why is that, and do you have any other drinks that you like?
Well, well, that's sort of like a very interesting question, and I think it's so sort of like I had that for a long time ago for sort of like when the time when sort of like it's a bit tougher to actually get items. But I have stopped using it now, and sort of like I don't have any other drinks that I like.
Okay. And RJ Wet wants to know, here in the U.S., we get the impression that Ingress is huge in Asia. What's been your perception of Ingress's impact there?
I think in Japan, I think that's I think there's a stronger community in Japan, and I think in Hong Kong, I guess in Hong Kong and in other places, they are probably not as sort of like Niantic hasn't actually spent a lot of effort. We do have a huge amount of anomalies in Hong Kong. I think they sort of spend a lot more time in Japan for anomalies, and I think sort of like the Japanese is definitely more. I would say sort of like more into the game and more sort of like spend a lot of time focusing on sort of like the game and all the other things. But we do have a lot of fanatics in Hong Kong and in Singapore and in Taiwan as well. So yes, sort of like yeah, and one of the good things about Asia is that it tends to be more compact. The city is sort of like smaller, and transport is a lot easier. And you can walk to a lot of distance compared to places like UK or places like sort of like America. Sort of like I went to sort of like somewhere near San Francisco, outside San Francisco, a suburb of San Francisco, and it just took a long time. You probably need a car for ingressing out there. So that's what I think that's probably another reason that why it's popular. It's just things are so more compact. The city is so more compact and walkable in Asia, really.
All right. And new user 2 wants to know, what are the observable differences in Ingress play from culture to culture?
That's very interesting. So I spent some time with the London Asian, and they definitely like their beer and their cups. And in US, it tends to be sort of like more friendly, and sort of like they sort of talk a lot more and sort of like being really sort of like friendly. In Japan, again, is also quite a friendly place. They're probably a bit more they're friendly, but they don't talk as much, or they don't communicate as much. And in Hong Kong, I think people get much more obsessed and more fanatic about the game. And I sort of like it's really interesting, sort of like, especially when you come together to play Anomaly, the communication style, the sort of like the way they organize. Japanese has the best organization in terms of anomalies, and especially Enlightened Team. It's sort of like it's got the best organization out of all the anomalies that I've seen, and very impressed with them. So I'm trying to learn some of their lessons, and hopefully next time when we have a anomaly in Hong Kong, I hope to learn some of their lessons and put to use here.
Good to know. User 2 also wants to know if there was any behavior that took you by surprise.
No, I don't think there's particular sort of like behavior that's the surprise. I think sometimes we all do get a bit absorbed in the game, and they are sort of like sometimes sort of like words are exchanged and things like that. But I think that happens with sort of like every single game, and I think sort of like and there's also sort of like a lot of banters and things like that. So I think I don't think there's any things that's price. I think the important thing is that you need to, when you play in different places, you just need to respect the local culture and understanding of how people behave.
You have the good tips anywhere. And some other player, Reed Sulo Coop, or I'm sorry, Red Solo Cup. Ah, that troll. Anyway, he wants to know what specific data would you want from an API, and what would you do so with it personally?
I think so. At the moment, so if you look at what IITC does, so the basics of where the portals are, what resonators there are, all the link information. That's basically if you use something like IITC or something like that, it's basically just scraping. And I think that's a bit. I mean, those kind of fundamentals information, I think it's very useful to have to build other tools for Intel. I think there's a there's a sort of argument to have and see whether somebody could have captured the logs and analyzed those logs. And I think I will leave it to Niantic to make a judgment on whether capturing logs, because obviously, as we said, we could have a guardian hunting with if you're able to capture the log. So I think it's something that for Niantic to think about whether that would disrupt the balance of the game.
Well, I understand what you said, man. Hopefully. But it's now your turn to talk about whatever you want, or shout out, or do anything. You can stand up and dance, whatever you want. You have 60 seconds.
Some lasagna for us. 1 minute.
So I think I will say hello to everybody I've met over all the different continents. Keijo and Blay from South California, and Shashi, and all the other people in London, as well as all the Hong Kong Asians. And I think hopefully I'll be going to the Taipei Anomaly, upcoming Abandoned Anomaly. So hopefully I'll see some of you there, and then so just enjoy the game.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, and yeah, keep on traveling and spreading the enlightened love.
Okay.
And Jorge, you're muted.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. Well, thank you guys for being with us tonight. Thank you, Daphne, our guests, our supporter guy out there, Andrew, Jesse, as always, Robert from FEP Games. So, thank you, happy hacking, and see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so we've got to come up with this recipe now for the cross-cultural lasagna.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, and then yeah, you can.
I can take it.
So you can add your Argentinian twist to it.
You want it? You got it.
All right. No, that's really hungry now.
You want that lasagna because it has wine on it.
That too. Speaking of which, cheers, everybody.
Yeah.